Imagine walking through a vast ancient library with the lights turned off. The shelves stretch endlessly into the darkness, lined with wisdom, answers, clarity. But in the absence of light, every step feels uncertain. You reach out, but you grasp air. The knowledge is there, but it's invisible to you. The problem isn't the books, it's that you've been left in the dark. And so fear replaces faith. Guesswork replaces guidance. Confusion grows not because truth is missing, but because the light to see it was never switched on. This is what happens when we face doubt without Islamic knowledge. The truth is there, revealed, preserved, alive, but if the lamp of learning isn't lit, even the clearest verses remain unread. Even the strongest answers remain untouched. You begin to question what was never in question. Not because the answers don't exist, but because your soul was never given the light to find them. Doubt withers in the light of knowledge. And Iman, true faith, is like a tree heavy with fruit, nourished by water and light. Allah says, "O mankind, there has come to you a conclusive proof from your Lord, and we have sent down to you a clear light." This light is not a figure of speech. It's revelation, it's guidance, it's the light that opens the eyes of the heart. For the heart cannot believe unless it sees, and it cannot see without this illumination. But this isn't cold information. It's not a quiz of facts. It's not lines just for memorization. It's the light of transformation. It is warmth in winter, a lantern in the storm, rain for the cracked earth, sunlight for the yearning tree. Like rain, it doesn't stop at the surface. It soaks deep, awakening what lies beneath. And from that soil, Iman begins to bloom. As Ibn al-Qayyim said, revelation is like rain on a thirsty land. However, it is also the sun that bathes the tree of knowledge in light, nurturing the roots, bringing the branches to life. Because in the garden of the soul, knowledge is the water and the sunlight. And where it flows and shines, doubt begins to die. But here's the thing. Light is useless if the eyes are blind. And Islamic knowledge, no matter how vast, won't settle into a heart that is clouded by arrogance, heedlessness, or sin. That's why in Islam, learning is not just about the head, it's about the qalb, the heart. And in the Islamic tradition, the heart is the center of perception. Allah says, "Do they not travel through the land so that their hearts may reason and their ears may hear? For it is not the eyes that are blind, but the hearts within the chests." So we must approach knowledge with humility, sincerity, and a heart ready to receive. Because you don't just study Islam to pass the test, you study it to transform your soul. In the Qur'an, true knowledge is never dry. It doesn't just fill the mind, it awakens the soul. Allah says, "It is only those of His servants who have knowledge who truly stand in awe of Allah. Indeed, Allah is Almighty, most forgiving." You see, brothers and sisters, real knowledge moves you, it humbles you. It doesn't inflate the ego, it breaks the heart in reverence. Knowledge that doesn't make you transform was never real knowledge to begin with. It plants awe, waters it with hope, and grows a tree whose roots are secure and whose branches reach up to the heavens. It elevates you, increases you, makes you reach spiritual and cognitive heights that ignorance can never reach. Allah makes this clear with a rhetorical question. Are those who know equal to those who do not know? The answer doesn't need to be spoken. It lives in the soul that has truly seen. We don't study Islam just to win arguments. We don't seek it to stack facts or silent critics. We study it to build a bridge to the divine, to anchor ourselves in a storm-swept world, to walk through chaos without collapsing into it. Seeking knowledge is not just a side project, it is a sacred duty. The Prophet ﷺ said, seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. To ignore it is to choose darkness. To pursue it is to walk towards light. And when Allah chooses you for this path, He has favored you beyond measure. The Prophet ﷺ said, if Allah intends good for someone, He grants them understanding of the religion. So if you're walking this path, know that you are walking a road lit by revelation, paved by the prophets, and guided by the one who fashioned your heart to recognize the truth when it sees it. Let knowledge not just inform you, let it transform you. Let it become the lantern you carry when the night feels long. Because the heart was never meant to wander blind. It was meant to walk with light. Now let's bring all of this to life. You've likely heard the claim, Islam is unjust because women inherit less than men. At first glance, it feels unfair. And if you keep walking in the dark with no light of knowledge to guide you, you may begin to doubt. But let's turn the light on. Let's see what Allah has revealed. Let's shine truth on the fog of assumptions. First, understand this. Islamic inheritance is not based on worth. It's not about valuing men over women. It's based on two key principles. Number one, closeness to the deceased. Number two, divinely assigned roles and responsibilities. It has nothing to do with inferiority and everything to do with justice rooted in divine wisdom. Now ask yourself, do women always inherit less in Islam? Not at all. In fact, when you study Islamic law, you'll find that women inherit equal to or more than men in many more scenarios than where they inherit less. And here's what people miss. When a woman inherits, it's hers. No strings, no obligations. She's not expected to use it for others. But the man, he inherits with responsibility to pay off debts, to provide for his family, to care for others. His share may be larger, but so is his burden. So what looks like injustice on the surface dissolves under the light of study. The mistake isn't in Islam. The mistake is in measuring divine justice with foreign assumptions, because Islam doesn't see rights as secular entitlements. It sees them as balanced trusts assigned by the one who knows us best. The real problem? Shallow judgment, skimming verses, scrolling headlines, issuing verdicts without ever sitting with knowledge. And this issue is not just about inheritance. It's about a mindset that rushes to doubt before it dares to understand. So here's the call. Learn before you judge. Study before you scroll. Think deeply before you declare. Because when you dig beneath the surface, you'll find that the truth was never oppressive. It was just buried under your own assumptions. Let's elaborate further with a thought experiment. Let me ask you this. If I handed you a box of 100 puzzle pieces and you just looked at 6 of them, would you call the image incomplete? Would you claim the whole puzzle is flawed? That's how people often judge Islam. They look at a few verses, a few rulings, a few sound bites, and declare the whole religion is broken. But when you study deeply, when you step back and see the full picture, what once looked chaotic becomes beautiful. Ibn al-Qayyim said, destructive doubts are the result of corrupted understanding, a lack of knowledge, and the absence of reflection. In other words, shubuhat don't survive in well-lit rooms. If your heart is sincere, if your mind is engaged, and if you seek knowledge with humility, then clarity is not far, and the shadow of doubt disappears. So brothers and sisters, ask yourself these questions. Have I judged without learning? Have I doubted before studying? Have I mistaken shadows for flaws? Have I been walking in the darkness of ignorance? Have I approached the light of knowledge? Because Islam is not afraid of your questions. It invites you to ask them while walking towards the light. Allah says, this is a clear message to humanity, so that they may be warned and know that He is one God, and so that those of reason may be reminded. This deen, the Islamic worldview, is built for people who want to learn. So study it, absorb it. Let it enter your heart like light into darkness. And just to end this episode, my dear brothers and sisters, remember, ignorance is darkness. Doubt is a shadow. But knowledge is like dawn breaking after a long, cold night. And when it comes, what once made you afraid disappears. Like realizing you are not in a dark, empty room, but a library full of books when the light was turned on. So seek knowledge, fall in love with learning, and you'll find that most of what made you doubt was darkness in absence of the light. Let the learning begin, let the doubts disappear, and let your heart rediscover the beauty and light of Islam.